Hi Stampers, it's Pat with Fairless Stamp and Flair, and I'm here today with Connect to Create to share a technique with you using embossing paste. And last week, Kathy showed you how to use the masks with blending brushes, and we're going to use masks again today, but we're going to use it with embossing paste. And I've got about 2 or 3 different ways to show you how to do that. So what I will do is I will do the embossing paste technique, and then I will show you a card using that particular method of the technique. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to switch my camera down, and hopefully it all works fine. Take myself off. All right. And I think we should be ready to go. So the first technique I'm going to show you with the embossing paste is this, and this is our embossing paste. I'm actually using the shimmery white. There is also a matte embossing paste, but I love shimmer and shine, so I'm using the shimmery white, and I'm going to use it for my first demonstration on colored cardstock. So I don't know if you can see, this is kind of, you can see the shimmer in there, I hope. I can see it, I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera. And to apply it, you want a few things handy. First, you want some paper towels. Not that this is messy, but paper towels are your friend. And you're going to need some palette knives, something to spread the paste with. I'm using our palette knives, and I'm going to use this one here. I've used both of them for different applications, but today I'm going to be using this one. And the first thing we want to do is, first of all, protect your work surface. So I have my normal piece here, but because I'm going to be doing this multiple times, I have a smaller piece. And I like to put the mask down and hold it very well because it helps me hold it to my cardstock. So I'm just going to use plain old 3M painter's tape. I think it's 3M painter's tape to hold down the mask. And I like to run it all the way across the bottom of the mask. Oops. Of course, I'm going to get it stuck where I don't want it, right? I like to line it up with my grid. I don't know, it's just me. It's not real critical. But I like to hold it down like this because now I can take my cardstock and tuck it underneath. And that kind of helps you hold the cardstock in place relative to the mat, okay? So with this particular card, this is actually a retired mask with these snowflakes, but I do really like it. And for the card I used, I decided I'm going to go ahead and use it because you can use any masks you want. You can also use die cuts. But for this particular card, I also only want the embossing at the top portion of the card. So in order to see that, it helps to put a little piece of washi tape down. You could use washi tape to hold this as well. But now I can see that I don't want to come below this line. So I'm just going to take a little glob of the embossing paste, set that down a minute, and put the cover back on. This paste does dry out, so I like to keep my cover on so I don't get it dried out within my container. And then we're just going to smear it on. And I probably have way more than I need here, but that's okay. And you can see I'm trying to stay above this masking or the washi tape there. I used a color one that I can easily see. And you're just going to kind of smear this over the whole thing. And once you get it covered, I like to kind of go back and just scrape off some of it. Take any excess and wipe it back into your container and just kind of smooth this out. And that is all there is to that. Now here's where you need your paper towel. You do want to wipe this off because this will dry on here. And believe me, once it dries on a tool, it is very difficult to get it off. So I'm going to carefully lift this up. And can you see that? Let me throw this out. And I have some warm soapy water handy, so I'm going to toss this in there to make sure that my stencil stays clean. Now I can take off this, carefully remove the washi tape. Now it did pull my card a little dark, a little bit there. I don't know if you can see that. But it's okay because I'm going to cover this up on my card anyway. So can you see that sparkle and shimmer? I hope you can see that. That is white embossing, shimmery embossing powder on Bashful Blue, not Bashful Blue. Oh my God, I'm showing my age. This is Balmy Blue cardstock. Bashful Blue. If you've been around a while, you'll recognize that name, and that has long since been retired, but it's similar to this. So we do need to set this aside to dry. I'm going to get my little scrap out of the way, and I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry. It takes a while. I usually go and make the rest of my card, and so just let me show you. And by the time I'm done, then it's usually dry, but you can test it by your fingers. So this is the card I made with that. This uses the tree lot dies, and it does use the coordinating stamps from Celebration, which I apologize are sold out. They were very, very popular. But you could use any trees to do this. So this is, I'm working on Christmas cards. I start early. So one other thing I wanted to show you with this card is if you can see this little area down here where it looks like there's some snow on this white. I just took a different spatula, this little one that's more knife shaped, and I took some of the embossing paste and I just kind of spread it there to look like some drifts. I do have a separate layer here, so I tore this layer and then put it on the edges. But then I to be honest, I dropped a little piece here in the middle, so I just made another drift and spread it out there. So that's another way that you can use embossing paste. You can just lay it down and let it dry to look like snow. So that's my first card. Now, the next card I'm going to show you is we're going to color the embossing paste. So for that card, I am going to make my own stencil, and I'm going to use this dots and spots die that we have. This was also a plus item on the freebies for Celebration that you could earn with Celebration. Today is the last day, so if you want this, I think it was with a $100 order, you could get this one. So again, I will put down my piece of scrap paper. Now, I used this die, but I made a die cut with it, and that's what we're going to use. You can use any cardstock, and for my sample card, I actually used just a piece. I had a scrap of basic black laying around, and that's what I used, and it worked great. Since then, I read somewhere to use foil, that foil works well. Now, I'll be honest, I would not waste a good piece of foil to make this template. I would just use regular cardstock. But because this is some old foil that I seem to have an abundance of that is retired, it's called Grapefruit Grove. I don't use it a lot. I don't know why I got so much. But I'm going to use this, and I've not tried this with foil. So let's give it a try, and we'll see together how this works. So again, I'm just going to tuck this under here. One other hint I would say is that I do tend to make my piece of paper that I'm putting the paste on larger than I need, and then I can easily cut it down afterwards. So this is larger than I would intend, but let's just smear this, some more of this embossing paste on here. This time I want to cover the complete card. Oh, this foil does smooth. Oh, this does wipe. I see why they suggested that. It does brush much easier than it did with regular cardstock, but the regular cardstock, I'll be honest, turned out fine. So again, I wouldn't waste a large piece of foil to do this because it pretty much is going to, you're not going to be able to reuse it because you can't get this off from your cardstock. So let's make sure I got all my dots covered. I'm just spreading it on. Make sure I got it in all the little divots, and then I'll come back and just wipe it off. Get most of it off. Put what I didn't need back in the container. Don't want to waste this stuff. Wipe off your tool. And let's see what this looks like. I'm going to lift this back carefully. I'm going to hold down my cardstock. Ah, look at that. So I did miss a little bit of a corner up here, but that's okay. That's why I do like to make it larger than needed, so I can cut that off. And this stuff cuts with your cutter just fine. No problem. So let me get that aside. So look at that. Isn't that, ooh, that is really sparkly and pretty. I love it. So now let me show you what we're going to do with that. Again, it has to dry, and it has to dry completely. But by magic of television, or film and camera, I have a dry one. So, and you can see it is a little smaller. I have cut it down. So now we're going to color this with our Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to color each of these dots a different color. And I'm not going to color this whole thing for you because we'll be here all day. But I am going to set this one aside so I don't mess it up, because I can use that on another card. And when you see this, I think you're going to think, oh, what a beautiful example of a baby card. So just let me fill in a few of them here randomly. Not going to be too careful about this. But you see how easy that colors the embossing paste, and it does not lose any of its sparkle. It still sparkles like crazy. It's beautiful. You can use either the small end or the large end, doesn't really matter. Both work fine. And I was first concerned that maybe because this is a little rough and textured, it might hurt my blend. So if you're worried about that, you can just dot up and down with the ink as well. I am actually going to switch to the other brush end. But I have not found any damage to my blends at all. So it's been great. And so easy and so much fun. Where do I need a green? Down here maybe? Okay. And now let's use, that was Granny Apple Green. The first one was Daffodil Delight. I just went and picked some random bright colors. This one is Melon Mambo. And I tended to choose the dark one is my melon, but I didn't know about Melon Mambo. Where's it tell me? Oh my God, I can't even read it. This is the light, because Melon Mambo is pretty intense color, but the others are dark. So we'll just continue. Get a few more dots in here. And you can color all the dots. You can use leave a few of them white, whatever your preference is. And it doesn't just have to be dots. You can make one of these with, we have some flower stencils. Make a flower and color your flower. Okay, and this one is Tahitian Tide. So we'll just add a little bit of that here and there. And I'm going to leave some white ones just for the fun of it. Okay. And I would continue and do the rest of the card with that. But can you see how sparkly and pretty that is? And like I said, don't worry about your blends. If you're at all worried, rather than brush rigorously back and forth, just kind of dab the color on. But so pretty, right? And here's the card I made. Oh, I can't show you the card yet because I have one more technique that I also used on that card. So we're going to do that first. And for that one, I'm going to use this artistic decorative, it's called artistic mix decorative masks. These are the current masks. And I will do it the same way. I'm going to put it down on a separate scrap of paper. It down along the bottom edge. Tuck it under. For some reason, this tucking it under, for me, really helps hold it. Now, because this one is a plaid one, you kind of want to try to get it straight. Okay, that's pretty good. So for this card, what we're going to do, or this technique, my blending pen's out of the way. Grab my silicone sheet. We are going to color a little bit of this embossing paste. So I will just put a little bit here on my, and here you don't want to get too much because you're not going to be able to, once you color it, you're not going to be able to put it back in your container, right? So you kind of want, you're better off to do a little at a time. If you don't have quite enough, just go mix up a little bit more. Or spread it thinner. You don't have to cover the whole thing. And I'm going to put a couple drops of Tahitian. Actually, I'm just going to put one drop of Tahitian Tide in here. With my re-inker, obviously. And then I'll mix this color in. And it's amazing how well this embossing paste actually takes the color. So that's why you can use more dots of ink, but you really don't need it because it can get very dark. And I didn't want it real dark. So that's why I just used one. But you certainly, if you want a more intense color, then go ahead and add a little bit more. So now we're going to use this. And again, we're just going to spread it just like we did before. With these square ones, I kind of like to go in multiple directions so that I get it. Otherwise, if I just go in one direction, you can kind of see where I'll miss. So you need to spread in multiple directions. And I'm not going to have enough for the whole card, but that's fine because I did not use a whole card piece for this particular card. We're going to get every little bit we have. See how much we can get. So I have the biggest piece possible. Wipe it off some edges there, bring it here. We're going to get close to getting the whole thing. Look at that. Once again, clean. Got a little bit more. Maybe I can get this row down here. All right. Good. Now wipe off my tool. And I am going to put my tool down in my warm water. And let's peel back the reveal. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I hope it looks as good on film. Put my mask, putting it down in my little bucket of water here. Warm soapy water is what you want. And while I'm at it, I might as well put my silicone pad in there too, although it cleans off the silicone just fine. Nothing sticks to that, right? Look at that. Can you see that? Can you see the sparkle and the shimmer? It is gorgeous. If you're a sparkle girl like I am, I love it. If you're a glitter girl or hate glitter, this does not get glitter everywhere. It sticks in the paste. So see how pretty that is? I'm going to set that side to dry. And let me show you the card that I made with that one. And I used both of those techniques. I wasn't going to do that. And then I was going to make two different cards. And then when I started combining them and figuring out what to do, because I didn't really have a great idea in my head, I really liked how that looked once I laid that on there. So this is the polka dotted one, and while I'm sitting here, I can see that on this one I colored everyone, but I see that I missed one. So let's just fix that. Or it will bother me. Okay, all fixed. Isn't that pretty? This is from the Little Piggies set, and starting tomorrow you can get coordinating dies with this with under the Perfect Pairs promotion. It starts tomorrow, so as a demonstrator we can order them early, so I had them. But isn't that a cute card? Wouldn't that make a cute birthday card for one of your little grandkids or nieces, nephews, or your own kids? On the inside, these are from the dies. I use that too. But so let me show you my cards again. The first one we did was with the embossing powder on colored cardstock, just plain white embossing. Then this next card has both colored embossing and colored paste shown. So those are my two cards. I do have one bonus card. I love all white for Christmas cards, and so when I was trying to decide, do I want this on white or do I want it on blue for demonstration, I made one of each. I don't know if you can see that shimmer, but I was happy with how it turned out. So that's a third card. It's very similar to the other one, but it was a test on my part. So I don't know. I hope you like that. I hope you learned a couple hints. And let me switch back to my other camera here for a second. And I'm back. So I hope you like those cards. It is a lot of fun, and I'm really not messy. My hands didn't get messy at all, so that's good. If you like these Connect to Create videos that Kathy and I are doing every week, subscribe. And the more subscribers we get, the more we can pass around the fun, right? So I hope you guys have a great week and the great rest of today. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Kathy will be back next week. Can't remember exactly what she's doing, but I'm sure it's going to be something great. So hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Thanks.